Hi, welcome to Sparkle. And Sparkle is a nonprofit reaching out to women to connect, inspire, and encourage through stories of ordinary women who have a relationship with God. And today I have a very special guest, not so ordinary. Her name is Katherine Pugh, and she is my only sister. So welcome, Katherine.
Thank you. Thank you, Betsy. What a privilege it is to come.
And
I'm
Katherine lives in Charlotte, by the way, and she is going to tell a little bit of a story, and then, or she's going to tell her faith story, and then maybe tell a story. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
so go ahead.
I am a mother, a wife, and a mother of three, and I have four grandchildren. So I'm at that stage of life. I am a nurse by trade, and I have been doing a dress business as of then in the last 4 years, I guess, since COVID started, and because I love to do things with my hands. We're a little bit on a break now because people had babies. The other two, I'm in a business with my daughter and daughter-in-law, and they both have babies, so we're taking a little bit of a break. But this spring, I did want to say. I think Betsy wanted me to tell a little bit of my faith story. And I would say, growing up in the home we grew up in, we heard about faith our whole lives. And I was told that at 4, I accepted Christ as my savior. But it wasn't until I was probably 17 that really he became the Lord of my life and transformed my life, I would say. And from then, I think I have continued to be transformed because what he starts, he is faithful to finish.
Yes, and I just want to say, I do remember that when you were 17. I do remember you kind of changing, and I was thinking, because you definitely had that experience before I did. And then Katherine she talks about a dress business. It's called Piccadilly. It's an amazing company with mother-daughter clothing. It's so cute. And she is doing it with her family. And it's interesting to see because she went from having 0 grandchildren to now having, is it 3?
4.
Yeah, because you have Sadie's. So anyway. All right. So, so now I know you actually have a story, so I'm excited to hear what the story is.
Yeah, I would probably say that I was trying to think through what God is showing me and what it is that he would want me to talk about this morning, because I could go down so many different avenues. But I would say that the thing in my life that's been the hardest thing has been control. I like to keep things in control. That's why I like to sew. I like to get things right. I like to, you can try to get, the stitches right, and I can get a dress to fit, and I can do all of that. So in a way, that transforms to other parts of my life. And so the main theme I would like to say is control. Now, control, I was thinking about this. I think control and faith might be a little bit opposite. It's hard to have faith when you like to have control, because in Hebrews 11, it says, faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. So you can't control something that you can't see. And I think that's been really hard for me. And I have a story, and that plays out throughout my life. I would say there are lots of little things I could say related to that, and that would tie in with that. But the story I was going to tell you is as life has gone on, and I've realized that you can control less and less. I think a friend of mine and I always say that life is just a series of letting everything go till you finally let it all go. But I would say there was a phase in my life when my children were in the throes of teenagehood, and it was hard. It was really hard. And I was going up to the mountains to see some friends. And I was by myself in the car, and we live in Charlotte. So I was on the way to Asheville, and there's a road that has a lot of stoplights, but then it gets to where there's no stoplights, and it starts to go towards the mountains and the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I was driving along that way, and it was probably 15, 18 years ago. And I had probably had a flip phone, but I wasn't on the phone. And I was really talking to God and sharing my heart, and probably crying and just talking to him about what I couldn't control. And, and, the feeling of your family being their own people when you thought they were going to be mini me's, and they're not. And that's so good, but it's hard. So I was praying and talking to God, and this man drives up to me in his truck, and he's doing like this. And I thought, I'm not talking on the phone. I don't know what he's saying. And so I went a little further. I thought, oh, I just don't know what he's talking about. And so I kept going. It was another couple miles probably. And I saw, the road's getting to where you just are headed to the mountains. And I did see one little perpendicular road and with an Exxon station. And so I pulled off to the left, and I got out of the car, and I looked, and there my tire was almost completely flat. And I didn't know what to do. That moment, I'm like, what do I do? And all of a sudden I hear this, hey, over here. And I look, and across that big highway is the man who was doing that, who says, over here. And sure enough, there's this company, says Harold's Tire Company, right over the other side of the road. So I get back in the car and drive over there, and I cannot tell you, within 3 minutes, there was a group of men that had, jumped around the car. They found the nail, they pulled it out, they plugged it, they put air in the tire. It was probably a total of 3 to 4 minutes. And the guy, it was the most amazing thing to me. And I said, how much do I owe you? And he goes, nothing. And he goes, just go on. And I was in shock. I mean, it was like literally a thing of like, in 4 minutes, I had a problem and it was solved. And I left, and I thought, Lord, and I felt like the Lord said to me, if I can solve a problem that you didn't even know you had, and I provided a solution, I can take care of your kids. And I think that is a thing that I keep trying to remember, because life is a series of more and more things feeling out of control. And I think every day I have to, even this morning, I feel like I have to relinquish things. And Lord, what are you doing? I have to leave things to your control. So I say, I want to encourage you when you feel like things are out of control. And the last little thing the thing that comes to my mind, I love this picture. It almost makes me cry, but it's a movie, Finding Nemo. I think probably everybody has seen that, but Finding Nemo, there is a point in the story where they're in the mouth of the whale. They're in the whale, which is ironic, but they're in the whale, and there's Dory and Merlin. It is Merlin. I can't remember. Marlin, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Nemo's dad, and they're in the whale. And Dory is trying to speak whale, and she says, I think this is what he's saying. And Marlin is like terrified, and Dory, he's in the whale, and Dory is trying to listen to the whale. And Dory says, and Marlin goes, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? And Dory says, he's saying, we need to let go. And Marlin says, but wait a minute. How do you know everything's going to be okay? And Dory says, I don't. And they let go. And I think that is such a picture of where we are with God. We don't know if everything's going to be okay, but we do know that the object of our faith is something so much more sure than what we can control and what we can do.
Yes, no, I love that. That is really good, because I think over and over again, if it's not a huge control issue, it's these small things that you just keep having to let go. And it's a constant, like you said, I love that when you said life is just about letting things go until you let it all go. complete, it's complete submission to, yeah, to God, really, and just letting it go. And I think there's more joy in that, you know. I mean,
There is.
it sounds so much easier than it is, though.
Well,
You
it
know?
is. And the key thing is that we believe, and the faith is put in something substantial. I think this culture at this day and age, everybody's very a big proponent of faith. Have faith, have faith.
Right.
But it's the object of your faith
Right.
that is the most important thing. And
yeah.
I remember somebody saying to me once that you know, if a stranger comes up to you and says, I'll meet you at 12 o'clock at the coffee shop down the road, and then you wait and you go to the coffee shop, but you're not sure if they're going to meet. You don't know the stranger. You don't know, are they late? Are they going to come, come meet you on time? Sometimes I think we're that way with God. We have to know him. You have to study. You have to be with people that know God. You have to put yourself in positions where you can know God, so that you know that the object of your faith is worth putting your faith in. And that would be the other thing I would encourage.
No, that's really important. That's key. Because if you're surrounding yourself with the wrong kinds of people and things, it can really kind of steer your vision into a different direction where your faith is not really truly in God. It is important. And I think, yeah, the way the world is now, it's so hard to see even what truth is. So, but Katherine, I so appreciate your thoughts on control and submission and your family. And Katherine has a beautiful family, and I'm so proud of her as my sister and happy to have her on the show. And we've enjoyed talking to you, Katherine, today on Sparkle, and thank you. Hopefully you'll have a wonderful, nice day in Charlotte, and miss you. And we'll see you again next time on Sparkle.